Here's a quick overview of the changes they've made to version 6 of the PMBOK guide that was just released in September of last year, 2017. So most people regard this new edition of the PMBOK guide as probably the most significant change to a PMBOK guide since its beginning in 1996. They've really made a lot of change this time. The main thing they've done is they've integrated agile concepts to a much more complete degree in version 6. In version 5, they only mention agile in about 8 or 9 places. In earlier versions, so in version 4, they didn't mention agile at all, and that was also true with even the earlier versions. So this is a new step for them, new territory. So the 6th edition was released on September 6th of last year, and also at the same time they released a companion book, the Agile Practice Guide. They are advising students that test questions on the PMP exam, when it changes in March, on March 26, that test questions can either come from the PMBOK guide or this new Agile Practice Guide. So students need to be expecting to see Agile questions too. So everything always gets bigger. The 6th edition is now 750 pages plus, and that compares to about 600 pages, a little less than 600 pages for version 5. And they've increased the number of processes. We have a net gain of 2 processes from version 5. They've added 3 new processes, but dropped 2 of them. So, dropped 1 of them. So there's a net gain of 2. And also the ITTO, the inputs, the tools and techniques, and the outputs have also significantly increased. Those are going up to 662 if you just count the literal ITTO. But you really have to count more than that, because many of these tools and techniques and some of the inputs are kind of umbrella tools, umbrella inputs, and students are going to have to focus on bullet points that are given to us beneath the umbrella tools. So we'll talk about that in more length. So if you add up all the ITTO and all these bullets that are included within the umbrella tools and techniques, the umbrella inputs, then the ITTO goes up to a whopping 1,400 ITTO. So if you want to buy the new book, if you haven't purchased it yet, then if you purchased it on Amazon.com, the last time I checked the price for the bundle for the 2 books together, it was $89.09, and the PMBOK guide by itself was $67.59. But I hope you're aware, I hope you know that as a member of PMI, and I hope you've joined PMI, there are a lot of advantages to doing that. But as a member of PMI, you can download the PMBOK guide, and even earlier versions if you wanted. But you could download the PMBOK guide for free as a PMI member. And that also is true for a number of their other books and practice standards. For every one of their 8 certifications, they have practice standards. There's only one BOK, only one body of knowledge, but there are other practice standards for these other certifications. So a practice standard for the risk certification, the RMP, a practice standard for the Agile certification, the ACP, and so on. And there's even more than that. There's more other practice standards too. There's a practice standard for the WBS, a practice standard for earned value, a practice standard for configuration management, and as a member of PMI, you've got free access to those. You can download PDF versions of those at no cost. This is extra credit, but here's a short history of the different PMBOK guide releases from the beginning of the first official release, version 1, in 1996. As you can see, before 1996, there were some earlier attempts and drafts of the PMBOK guide, but the official version 1 came out in 1996, and of course you can see it's much, much smaller in length, and you're probably envious. You're probably thinking, oh my goodness, I want to deal with that PMBOK guide, but watch out what you wish for. It doesn't mean that the test was substantially easier back at that time, and I know you don't care, but in some ways the test was more difficult. It was longer. It was actually a 6-hour exam that went all day long with a lunch break in between, and there were actually more questions, so you have to watch out what you're wishing for. So here we are now with version 6, and you can see there's a steady increase in the size of the books, the number of pages in the books, the number of processes is steadily increasing, and also the amount or the number of ITTO. So in version 6, again, we're up to really essentially for what students are going to need to know for the test, over 1,400 ITTO when you count all these different bullets.